Hello, 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 ladies and gentlemen. I am LD from dotacommentaries.com, and today we are
Dire
casting
team
EHOME versus
ban.
Absolute Legends. Man, it has to be super late on the other side of the globe. I am, of course, from the eastern coast of the United States,
Radiant
Philadelphia to be
team
exact. These
ban.
teams are about 12 hours away from me, so it is currently a little bit after 3 a.m. for both of them, give or take a couple of hours. I think EHOME might be a little bit earlier. Still, it is quite late. But both teams gonna play on in spite of it. Absolute Legends just had a grueling loss to Empire. Definitely an
Dire
epic game
team
to check
ban.
out, although I guess I just spoiled it. But yeah, it was a long game. They needed a break. We had a lot of
Radiant
server
team
issues.
ban.
There was a new patch recently released. Anyway, here we are. Enough about the previous games. This match
Dire
is being
team
played for the
ban.
Pro Dota 2 World League, the Asia region. Of course, eHome on the Radiant, Absolute Legends on the Dire. And both of these teams have qualified, or excuse me, have been invited to the international. So right now they are primarily playing for practice, as well as just for the Pro Dota 2 World League, which has a
Radiant
decent chunk of
team pick.
prizes. $20,000 is up for grabs. That's across all of the regions, not just Asia, for the pro teams. In terms of the bans that we're seeing here, eHome banning out some very strong solo heroes, some very strong team fight heroes. In the Darkseer, the Panda, the Queen of Pain, a fantastic ganker, a very strong
I
laning hero.
speak for the
AO more
trees.
focused on the junglers. Lycan,
Leshrac,
Enchantress both get the
Chen.
axe, and man, this draft is flying out. You can tell
Radiant
that AL is
team pick.
probably a bit tired. They actually have the King standing in. Can't remember offhand who he's replacing, but that is a player from Aeon who will indeed be
Earthshaker.
playing
Windrunner at your
tomorrow,
service.
or I guess it might be today
Dire
over
team pick.
on the eastern side of the eastern hemisphere if you've just woken up, which perhaps the King has. Either way, he will be playing in the International 2 qualifiers for the Eastern region starting tomorrow. But in terms of the picks that we see here, leshrac as well as Chen are the two picks from AL, so they opt to go with a lot of push on their own, a decent amount of counter push. Of course, Prophet was the first choice for eHome. They had the choice of the Chen, and they chose to give it away. Instead, they opt for the Prophet as well
10
as the
seconds
Earthshaker and Windrunner.
remaining.
A lot of team fight on eHome's side, a lot of spam,
5
which is one of the
seconds
best ways to
remaining.
shut down a minion-based pusher like the Chen, as well as leshrac. Sure, leshrac doesn't rely on
Reserve
minions to
time.
do damage to towers, but he doesn't really want to be standing next to a tower without something to tank either, especially early game. So by picking up so many heroes that provide spam, they have a decent chance of shutting down AO's push, but it's going to be crucial for them to get levels up on the
Radiant
Windrunner and
team
the
ban.
Prophet. You want a quick level 6, get that ultimate going in order to be able to shut down this push attempt. And speaking of that push, it just got a lot harder because Broodmother has been the pick. The third
Dire
pick for
team
AO, they are
ban.
going all in on this push strat, at least to start. Broodmother, of course, not only does she push well in her own right, but what Broodmother does better than pretty much any other solo hero, or really any hero in the game, is require immense amounts of attention. You cannot leave Broodmother alone. You have to leave someone in lane against her. If you leave her alone for even 2 minutes, she will push down the tower. If you leave her under leveled for a few minutes, you shut her down in lane. Let's say you even kill her a few times. It's not going to matter. That brood will get farmed. She will catch it quickly. She can farm your jungle with her spiderlings. And of course, she is so difficult to gank because of that fast move speed under the webs, as well as the
10
regen.
seconds
And of course,
remaining.
that invisibility means it's more expensive to deal with her. The other benefit to picking up this
5
Broodmother
seconds
is it
remaining.
really negates a lot of the Prophet Ultimate's power. When there are a bunch of spiderlings pushing a tower, they don't have much
Reserve
HP, but
time.
there's a lot of them, so they use up the bounces on that Prophet ult, which
Radiant
does have a
team
limited
ban.
number of bounces quite quickly. Sure, Prophet will be a nice way to help deal with the push, and of course he will mow down the creep wave in combination with the Earthshaker and the Windrunner. Still, the ult is not that spammable at early levels, so AL has a very strong pushing lineup, and in spite of how much spam EHOME has, I'm not convinced it's enough. What they either need now are more ganking heroes that can punish the Brood for being off on her own, or more heroes with spam, because otherwise they are going to lose a lot of towers early. That's enough about Broodmother for now. In terms of
Dire
what else is
team
getting
ban.
banned out, we do see a Shadow Shaman as well as a Sand King eating the ban. The two very strong pushing, well, not pushing heroes. The Shadow
Radiant
Shaman, a very
team
strong
pick.
pushing hero. So that's probably why he got banned out. Of course, a very strong solo hero as well. Sand King, more of a ganker and an initiator. And if you look at AL, Sand King would fit in great because you can lane him with the leshrac. And leshrac really needs that setup stun in order to be able to hit Split Earth. Sand King also will give them more team fight in the mid game. And interesting that eHome were the ones to ban it. Of course, coming out of the stage of the draft, they have the first pick, so they could have taken it
10
themselves
seconds
to
remaining.
counter the Broodmother. That being said, you don't want to let the leshrac and Sand King
5
get paired up,
seconds
and if you
remaining.
don't have a Sand King in mind uh, for your first pick coming out of
Reserve
this second
time.
stage of bans, then hey, maybe it makes sense to give it the ban here. Beastmaster, Morphling are the bans for AL. Beastmaster, of course, very dangerous when paired with a Prophet. You can use the Hawk to scout. The Prophet jumps in with a TP. Roar to follow. If anyone's smoked up, an Earthshaker with a Fissure, a Windrunner with a Shackle, any sort of runes picked up, that will be a kill. So it really gives you another global presence, as well as just a strong ganker, a strong solo here. And if you look at EHOME right now, they have room for at least one more farmer. Prophet could be in the jungle. He could be in a lane. Normally would be in that off lane, and we actually see a bounty hunter getting picked up. Now, I have seen EHOME run this a couple of times before. In fact, they ran it earlier today. I believe it's for the Gigabyte Dota Masters, and in that game, they put him into the off lane. I believe the bounty hunter actually died a few times early on, but it really didn't matter in the end because he got a decent amount of farm. Most importantly, he got the levels he needed to get track, and then EHOME just dominated the mid game. In that game, interestingly enough, EHOME also had a Dragon Knight. That was their primary farmer. He was protected in the safe lane, got a fantastic start, built a quick pipe, and then there was really no response. But there won't be a Dragon Knight to go with that bounty hunter this time around, as it has been snatched up by AL, one of their signature heroes, another strong pushing hero. AL is pretty much going all in at the push. If there was any question that they want to push down towers early, those questions can now officially be put to rest. Of course, there shouldn't be, because of Brood, Chen, leshrac, it is obvious they want to take down early towers. That is how AL likes to play. Interestingly, that is also how EHOME likes to play. As far as Chinese teams go, a lot of people think that the Chinese like to farm. Going back really to 2010, when that was the dominant metagame, getting a carry farm, running 3 carries, which was the strat that 2009 debuted, the triple carry strat. He basically said, you might gank one of our carries, you might gank 2, but someone on this team will get farm. Nowadays, that sort of thing does not fly, and EHOME is not a traditional Chinese team in that sense at all. They're very aggressive. They love to get early towers. They love to gank early. In a sense, they're like some of the Southeast Asian teams, but where EHOME differs is that they're a lot more disciplined. You won't see them giving up nearly as many sloppy kills as, say, a team like Mineski, who is extremely aggressive. With EHOME, it's much more calculated aggression. Ancient Apparition is the final pick. I love the choice. Not only will it counter Chen and really disable that heal, it gives you fantastic anti-push, another global hero to combo with that Prophet. So now you have to worry about Nature's Wrath. You have to worry about the Ancient Apparition ult hitting you at pretty much any time once he hits level 6. You also have to keep in mind Bounty Hunter will be a constant threat. One of the reasons why Bounty Hunter sees a lot of play is not only for the track gold bonus, but also because simply by having an invis hero on the map, you A, force the enemy supports to buy wards and other forms of detection, and B, perhaps more importantly, when their detection is not there, they have to play differently. It's like a pudge beat in the game, where you're always a little bit worried about the hook coming out from the fog. I'm sure we've all experienced that in pub games, and in pro games where the teams are that much more coordinated, it becomes even more of an issue. So it's a triple threat in terms of the mobility. The other great thing about this Ancient Apparition is that they have an Earthshaker. An Earthshaker and Ancient Apparition, much like Shadow Demon and leshrac, are best friends because they set each other up so well. Earthshaker can initiate with a Fissure, Cold Feet can follow, and the Fissure stun time will be long enough for that Cold Feet to set in. Normally you start with the Cold Feet, but either way, the point is the two are comboed together nicely. You also have Sprout to hold heroes in place for a few extra seconds, even if it's just long enough for a hero to tango his way out. That can be the difference between Cold Feet setting in and not. So it's a triple threat ganking combination. Of course, Windrunner will be hard to kill off. I really love the way EHOME is drafted. And AL goes even deeper into the push, and by picking up a Pugna here, I will talk about that pick in just 1 second. But for now, let's go ahead and introduce the players. Godot will be playing his signature Chen. This is one of his favorite heroes to play along with that Enchantress. Godot, one of the best junglers in the world. It's not even close. He's up there with Puppey. He's up there with pretty much all of the top junglers. So do not underestimate Godot on this Chen. Musica will be on that leshrac. Looks like it will be a support leshrac as he heads down towards the bottom lane. The King will be farming on Dragon Knight. And we see Snoopy in the middle lane on Pugna. He is rushing a bottle as he has 250 gold in the bank. Chitan will be in the protected safe lane. We have seen a lot of offlane broodmothers recently, but in the safe lane, the brood is more likely to be able to farm her own jungle with her spiderling. She's also a little bit less likely to get ganked off. For EHOME, we have Lanham playing that bounty hunter. He started with a stout shield. He has not been pulled any regen. Cupid Cat, also known as PCT, will be playing that Earthshaker. It is a support Earthshaker. Love the fact that we already see these sentry wards being picked up. I expect to see this spot dewarded in short order, as a lot of teams have been growing wise to this. This used to be a pretty tricky spot right here, because it is in the trees, but most teams are now very familiar with it in Dota 2. It is one of the most common places to ward. Expect to see that dewarded in short order. If it's not, that could be a little bit unfortunate for EHOME. QQQ on that ancient apparition. MMY on the windrunner. It looks like she might be headed mid. Ladam headed towards the top. King J maybe offensive jungling here on the Prophet. We'll have to see. He could be in the off lane, but I believe it will be Lanham in that position. Okay, so let's sort of take stock of what the lanes are breaking down to be. Shaitan is going to be soloing top, as I mentioned. Up against the Bounty Hunter. Bounty Hunter can do nothing to stop this push, but what he can do is get some farm, maybe do a little bit of harassment to Brood, but primarily, Bounty Hunter's goal here is to get as much farm and as many levels as possible. Musica and Godot making their way into the enemy jungle. This will be an offensive jungle. A Chen and a leshrac from the looks of it. I expect leshrac to be in the lane with DK. Maybe, is he going to go towards mid? Looks like they might want to set up a gank on the middle lane, but of course, this camp was blocked by Godot, so he's actually denying himself a creep. Simply by standing in vision of the camp. Cupid Cat immediately dewarding. I love this game sense by PCT, knowing exactly where he needs to go. Although he hasn't eaten the tree yet, so maybe he doesn't know where the ward is. King J joins the party as well. A little cold feet harassment going out onto the King. I just have my eyes set on this jungle because I'm very curious if PCT will find that ward. It is definitely tucked away in a spot that you don't see a lot in pubs, but most pros should be familiar with this. Either way, Godot has picked up a Dark Troll Warlord, definitely the best level 1 creep to have. You can see MMY is being driven back to his tower because Snoopy is spamming that Nether Blast. Pushing the wave into the enemy tower is the best way to set up a gank, as it will allow you to have creeps to tank the tower. Of course, you also have skeletons to work with. But yeah, in terms of this gank, I think they could get an easy kill here on MMY. Net to initiate, Splitter to follow, or you can hold on to one of the abilities for after Windrun is popped. And of course, Musica can be buffing up all the nuke damage with that Decrypify. A very scary 1-2-3 punch. For now, they don't seem to be too interested in it. They spot King J doing a little bit of farming here. He has managed to clear off one camp. It's going to be Treants on Dark Troll Warlord as well as Skeletons. Looks like the Chen army is winning the day for the moment. So a very passive start to this game. And passive is going to make EHOME happy. As they desperately need to get level 6 on really all of their heroes. With a few of them, they have to get higher than level 6. But you want to get Track up quickly. You want to get Nature's Wrath up quickly. And you want to get that Ancient Apparition ult going as soon as possible. As the game appears to be lagging pretty badly. And we do see a pause coming out from KJ. While we have a moment here, let's take a look at the farm scores. QQQ, really great farm. 10 creeps already on this bottom lane. And Dragonite is not the easiest here to lane against. Now at early levels, it's okay, but once he starts leveling up, once he hits level 5 in particular, that Flame Breath will be hitting extremely hard. QQQ is quite a squishy hero, being an intelligence hero with relatively low strength game. So the Kane should be able to get farm. Unfortunately, spamming that Fire Breath rather, will push the lane, which makes it a little bit more difficult for you to farm. MMY 7-7. And in terms of AL, 8-0 on Godot, 5-0 on the King. Pretty decent farm all around. Looks like AL is a more even distribution. EHOME, really only their 3 primary heroes getting farm to start. The King J in particular is being shut down here. And it looks like Musica is going to be ushered off. Oh, a nice fissure to initiate. Musica gets sent back, but that is a level 1 sent back, so it will take a while. It's not enough. First blood coming through. Great job by EHOME. For anyone who's not sure what I was trying to say there, Holy Persuasion has a much longer delay at level 1 than it does at level 4. It takes much longer to send your ally back, 6 seconds to be exact, and that was just too much time. So with the offensive jungle off to a really bad start, we are going to see MMY getting a nice first blood there, and it looks like he has a bottle on his way, or on its way to a mid. Great start for the Windrunner. And Windrunner versus Pugna, in terms of this lane matchup, it is quite even. The Chen as well as the roaming leshrac are the X factor here. Because they are 2 heroes that definitely have what it takes to lock down a Windrunner, especially if the Chen gets good creeps, like this Dark Troll Warlord. But for now, it just doesn't seem like the dual roam is effective. When you run a dual roam, you really have to get early kills. Otherwise, your supports are going to end up a bit under-leveled. And because there are so many camps warded off in this jungle, as well as a Prophet contesting the farm, it's going to be a little more difficult than it otherwise might be for the leshrac and the Chen to get leveled up. Pretty tame start all in all. We did see 1 kill. The gold graph very even. XP graph dead even, in fact. So for now, not too much going on, but in terms of the mid lane, Windrunner having an advantage where she otherwise might not. Pugna's Nether Blast is very spammable. He's got a higher mana pool. He's got more base damage early on. Of course, he is quite squishy. But if AO wants to be effective in this game, a lot of pressure really relies on A, the Chen getting some better ganks up, and B, the broodmother, who has a much easier lane top, should definitely be getting an early tower, and looking to push it down as quickly as possible. With that tower down, we'll have better map control. And like I mentioned in the pregame, it also forces Bounty Hunter to rotate off the lane. But for now, the tower not taking too much damage. BH is getting tons of levels, which I mentioned as a key to his laning stage. Lanham having a great time, and also farming reasonably well. Once he hits 6, the Brood is going to have a very difficult time pushing the lane, simply because that track will be available, and Brood will be coming out of vision here and there. Salve gets popped on Lanham. For now, I have to say this double jungle is an unmitigated failure. They have not gotten any kills. They have not pushed down any towers. Musica is pretty under-leveled for leshrac. You can see he's level 2. Everyone on the Radiant at least level 3. And an under-leveled leshrac is not a good hero to have on your team. Sure, Leshrac's a very powerful hero. I'm sure we've all seen those games where Leshrac goes beyond godlike, gets up a Bloodstone, a BKB, all the big items, but the way that this game is going for Musica, he's not going to have any farm. He's still working on boots at 5 minutes in. In fact, AL thought about making a go on the tower, but unfortunately Windrunner 2 leveled up. Clinching ports in on the bottom lane. Cold Feet is available. Actually, no, sorry, it's on cooldown, so the King is going to live for now. QQQ not level 6 yet. Meanwhile, an engagement up top. Looks like that engagement bot will amount to nothing. Musica gets tracked. He will go down, and that is a track kill going the way of EHOME. AL has to be very careful about giving up these kills, because you're not just giving up a kill to a Windrunner. You're giving up a kill to a Windrunner who has a Bounty Hunter on her team. That track gold will be helping out the Bounty. It will be helping out the Windrunner. Everyone's going to get more farm than they would. Whenever you play against a Bounty Hunter, as long as he's able to get track off for kills, his team will have the gold advantage. They can afford to trade 1 for 1, and they will come out ahead. If you look at EHOME's lineup, they do scale better into the late game. In the mid game, AL is extremely strong, but the later this goes, the more the Bounty Hunter, as well as the Prophet, will be able to dominate. QQQ in a bit of trouble here on the bottom lane. Nice defensive fissure, and this will be a turnaround. The King looking to go down here. PCT gets stunned. Great stun by the leshrac, but unfortunately it is only a level 3 leshrac. Look how quickly he is going to drop here. Musica in a lot of trouble. That Edict doing a decent amount of damage, but unfortunately just not enough. While this was all going on, Shaitan dies on the bottom lane, and I'm guessing that was a track kill. Gold grab dramatically in favor of the Radiant. 5-1 is the kill score. EHOME looking sharp. AL frankly not. And who can blame them? It's very late. They've been playing for quite a while. As I look away from the top lane, big plays by Godot, getting a solo kill on the Bounty Hunter. That is not something you see very often. And he did it without a Sentry Ward. I'm not actually sure which creep he had. I guess it was just a high damage test of fate.
Middle tower is under attack.
Oh, as I miss yet another kill, this time on the bottom lane. PCT dying. I do apologize for missing all these kills. I was just about to check items. Hopefully I won't miss any more. Phase boots up on the Ancient Apparition. This will be a very mobile Ancient Apparition. Crucially, EHOME has gotten through that early stage of the game without losing any towers. They're up in kills. They have the ult on the Ancient Apparition. The Prophet is actually nowhere near his very slow start for King J. But if the Prophet is able to hit level 6, let's say in the next 3 minutes, I think they're going to be in good shape. Because they have a Bounty Hunter who's getting a good start. He's already got a Soul Ring. Interesting choice. Normally, and in fact the last time I saw Lanham play this Bounty Hunter, he did go for a very quick Drums, and then later a Vanguard, just tanking up. But with this better start, I guess he wants to be able to spam his spells, so he's going to go directly into his Soul Ring. In terms of his skill choice, he's actually taking a 3rd point in Shuriken. This is very unusual. Shuriken does not scale particularly well. Level 2 is normally where you want to go, but enough about that for now. As the King eats an Ancient Apparitional, he may go down here. He needs to drop to 90 HP. He's going to TP out. One more auto attack would do it, but they don't have the vision, so he will be okay. Courier doing a very dangerous item drop here directly in enemy territory. Lanham has the set. He's looking to go and Godot. One swipe to initiate. Will Godot be able to get away? It is very difficult to run from a Bounty Hunter. No phase boots or power treads up yet. Still, even having Y picking up a DD run in the meantime, Lanham really wants this kill. Look how far he's diving. There's no detection up. If he gets this kill, Godot is going to be very frustrated. He's still not level 6, no ult up, but in the middle of all this action, Shaitan is doing exactly what you need a Brood to do, which is pushing down the tier 1 tower. Check the shot, not going to latch, but Shaitan sprouted inside of Power Raids. That should be the end of them. The power shot kind of working against MMY because he actually allowed the Broodmother out of the trap, but indeed it was enough. Thanks to Shaitan running back through the tower vision, he does get picked off. The ganks are working for EHOME. They've only lost a single tower. They're about to lose 2 top. Prophet ult bouncing through. The King will drop. Thanks to that AA ult. This is the global power of EHOME's lineup. Really taking advantage of their ganking presence, their burst damage capacity. And I mentioned that Prophet hitting level 6 before 10 minutes in. He's got it at 9 minutes in. Great job by him. He's got a quick Urn of Shadows. This is the standard Chinese build. Going for the quick Urn of Shadows. Normally you'll see a Mechanism next, just going pure support. And the tower, the glyph is forced mid. Ale trying to push down towers. Frankly, at this stage of the game, you want to have more than 2, and if you're only going to have 2, it's a nice deny there by MMY. Great job, but if you're going to have only 2, you don't want to be behind in kills, especially to a bounty hunter. In terms of item progression here, I mentioned the phase boots earlier on the apparition. We also see a pair picked up on the windrunner now. Aside from that, looks like Snoopy will be the one going for the Mechanism on Ale. This frees up Chen to get something else, whether it's a Vlad's, whether it's a drum. Expect to see an early pushing item along those lines being selected, as Aeon or as Ale just does not go as late, especially when you consider that King J, or excuse me, not King J, the other King, the King who plays for Aeon, who is subbing in, is not farming particularly well. He was down on a difficult lane, and the leshrac is a support leshrac who died early on. So neither of the heroes that have the potential to out-carry a bounty hunter late are getting the farm they need to do so. So it's all about towers, map control at this stage of the game. Ale has to get a bit more of a foothold. They're prepared to do it, as we see Lanham going into invis form. Maybe looking to initiate here. Track to start on Shaitan. It is very difficult to defend a tower with this tornado up. And it looks like the tower will be going down short order. Blast to clean it up. Meanwhile, the King is doing a nice job pressuring that top lane. This is the strength of Ale's lineup. They have a very mobile lineup, a very strong pushing lineup. Well, not the most mobile, but what they do have is the ability to split push very effectively. Of course, Broodmother, very difficult to track down. And as a result, they're doing the best they can. They get a tier 1. They are pushing top lane. EHOME is a bit on the back foot at the moment as MMY picks up a haster. Will we see a net? We will. Blast to follow. Split Earth missing. Musica, I'm not sure how you missed that stun. I guess maybe he's lagging a little bit. Didn't expect the net to come out when it did. Unfortunate either way. QQQ is decrepified. He's unfortunately the decrepified. Not going to be used before the spawn Spider Lane, so he will live. King J looking to pick off Shaitan. Shaitan goes down. A big pick off there. The Broodmother dying yet again. Nobody on Ale is really having a great start. And Snoopy being circled all around by MMY. Fishing for that shackle shot. He's going to get it. What a great play by MMY. What a timely haste turn for MMY. And down goes the Pugna again. This is not the way you want a game to be going against a lineup that has a bounty hunter. A lineup that has so much anti-push. Because they got the tier 1 towers, and that's great. But getting the tier 2 towers is an entirely different matter. They take longer to bring down. Of course, you're deeper in enemy territory, so if something goes wrong, you are going to have a very difficult time escaping from a Prophet, escaping from a bounty hunter with his chasing ability, along with the windrunner with her chasing ability. And of course, it is very difficult to push against a windrunner and an earthshaker, simply because one well-placed fissure or a shackle shot that hits 2 heroes will completely end the push and possibly result in a team wipe. So don't be misled by the fact that we see Ale with a tower advantage here. They're very much in danger at the moment. They don't scale particularly well. That being said, they're not in a horrible position. It's just that they cannot afford to make mistakes, whereas EHOME has much more room to bounce back. In terms of farm, I haven't checked that much this game. 62 on the King. He is tied with MMY leading the way. Pretty awful farm, or excuse me, not awful, but not quite as high as you would normally expect to see it, because there just has been so much rotation around the map. But considering how much movement there's been, the farm is still fairly impressive for both of those heroes. And of course, Broodmother is getting a lot of farm. 69 on Shaitan. Actually, he is the one leading the way. You got to keep in mind a lot of those are jungle creeps, which are not worth as much. Of course, Spiderlings will comprise some of EHOME's farm. Nonetheless, EHOME, this is very typical for a lot of the Chinese teams. Their supports getting a decent amount of farm. PCT, 21 creeps to his name. Compare that to Musica, only 8 creeps. And if you look at Musica's hero, he has nothing. Just boots. He is being forced to purchase wards at the moment. And that's going to further eat into his already limited gold supply. King J porting towards Roshan, actually. They're maybe trying to scare off AL. Some TP cheese here coming out from King J. I'm just doing a little bit of mind games, I suppose is the correct way to put it. Another fake TP. AA ult flies in, and this is really going to make this Roshan attempt dangerous at the moment. But it looks like EHOME is actually not going to contest it, and giving up an Aegis like this. Prophet ult bouncing through as well. A lot of damage being done. Roshan eats a stun, but still Roshan is dropping low. Godot does have his heal. He may be forced to use it here. But with 3 EHOME heroes visible top, I'm guessing AL is just going to take the Roshan, hold on to the Chen heal. A nice swing for AL, but EHOME doing the smart thing, getting the best trade they can. 2,300 gold on Lanham. He can go for that quick drums, could rush a BKB. And if you look at the dire lineup, a BKB is really going to mitigate a lot of their damage. Sure, DK has the potential to right-click hard, but the way this DK is farming and the way he's playing, he's going for a support pusher DK. You see drums already picked up, Soul Ring to spam those nukes. And something else on the courier, it is going to be power treads. Looks like the mechanism should be done once the Pugna actually has room on the courier, which is currently chock full of items. MMY does pick up a regen rune here. So after a bunch of back and forth, if we gauge the map control, it actually looks pretty decent for EHOME. This is currently what they see. You gotta give most of the credit for this just to that Prophet. Of course the A ult can be used to push, but primarily it's been trying to slow down the Roshan attempt. And being used more for ganking. A lot of nice spam on EHOME's side, which helps to keep the lanes pushed out. Looks like Snoopy is in trouble here. Echo Slam coming out from PCT. And that was definitely a great Echo Slam. Using an Echo Slam to secure a single kill is totally worth it at this stage of the game. As you can see, there haven't been many engagements with, if any, this game with more than 2, 3, maybe 4 heroes. And Lanham and Shaitan trading some blows on the bottom lane. I really wonder what Lanham is saving for at this point, as he has quite a bit of gold worked up. I would not be entirely surprised to see a Battle Fury rush, simply because if you look at AL, they have so many minions, and Battle Fury is really nice against Broodmother to clear out the spider lanes. They don't really need one, and the much more common Chinese build would be something like a drums, maybe a medallion, a quick BKB after that, a Vanguard. We've seen Lanham likes to pick that. Oh, it looks like the King in a lot of trouble. Aegis is blown. Will EHOME fight this when he respawns is the question. Net onto King J. Dragon form is propped. The King wants to take this fight. Stun onto QQQ. He looks to be dead. I think EHOME should just count their losses here. Actually, 4 staff away. This is a very farmed Ancient Apparition this early in the game. While QQQ is chased down, it looks like Pugna gets picked off by a party of EHOME gankers. And in these prologue team fights, Bounty Hunter is a very dangerous hero to be up against. As we see him looking to make a go here, probably on Godot. Godot will be the target of choice. The ult is forced from Godot. The stun misses from Musica, and Godot is dead. There's nothing he can do. With Godot dead, they cannot send back Musica. And although the King may get one more kill on MMY, indeed Musica cleans that up. Still, these prolonged fights, trading kill for kill, are going to favor EHOME because of that track gold. Another kill going the way of EHOME. Lanham getting filthy rich, sitting on 1,700 gold almost, as well as that Drums of Endurance. He looks like he may live. The King simply too tanky. No, that's Sentry Ward just in range for the King, who has a haste turn active during this fight. One more stun on King J. Will there be any more follow-up? It looks like King J should be able to TP out. The net is not available. Was on cooldown for just 1 more second. Out he goes, and you have to keep in mind that was a 4v5 fight. So although I said EHOME was going to do fine if they trade evenly in the engagement, A, they did not trade evenly. Although they got an Aegis, AL came out ahead in terms of kills and kill gold, even factoring in track. And more importantly, Shaitan was able to secure them a bottom tower. And it's not just about this tower. At this point of the game, when you have so many pushers, a Chen, a Dragon Knight, a Pugna, a Broodmother, a leshrac, all of these heroes fantastic pushers. Losing towers means that you're going to have a much harder time taking a fight at Roshan because you simply won't have the map control to do it. And although EHOME is really good generally at controlling the map, and they have some heroes that are decent at anti-pushing, it is still going to be an uphill battle for them to keep control, keep vision up for Roshan. But if any lineup has the ability to stop a Roshan from a distance, it is EHOME's. They can start with an Ancient Apparition ult, follow up with a Prophet ult, because that AA ulti does give a little bit of vision, and that will do a lot of damage to AL. If you're AL, you have to look towards a fast pipe here. And the question is who is building it. I'm guessing it would be the Dragon Knight. Normally it would be, but he's actually going for BKB. I believe... Okay, it is the Pugna going for it. He's not going for the mechanism. In fact, Chen is going for it. It's going to be a late mech, but an earlier pipe, and I think this is a great choice. Mech does you no good if you're all being affected by that AA ulti. Getting the pipe up sooner is the priority. Now, although Pugna is building the pipe, look how squishy he is. 700 HP. Even with the pipe, you do have a Chen on your side to send you back to base, but just a simple, a fissure, a shackle shot, even a sprout, a right click from the Bounty Hunter, and that might be enough to bring him down to half health. One more nuke or two, and he is flat out dead. If he doesn't get the pipe off, the fights are going to go very poorly for AL. A lot of eggs are in the basket of the King right now. We'll have to see just how hard he's able to carry up against EHOME, one of the top teams in the Asian region at the moment in Dota 2. Playing very well. in a lot of their recent matches. And actually going for high ground here. This is going to force several TPs back. The King pops his dragon, his level 1 dragon form. Look how many spiderlings are active. The A ulti is not going to hit the spiderlings. That is a big problem. They traded tier 2 for some damage on the tier 3. Broodmother ult even popped late TPs back from EHOME. I'm not sure what they're thinking. You do not want to give up a tier 3 tower for a tier 2 this early. I think they really underestimate just how much damage can be done. Echo save by PCT. Shackle shot onto the trees from the Sprout. Shaitan goes down. The King on the retreat. He has a TP scroll, but it's going to be very difficult to get it off. Musica joins the fight as well as Snoopy. Pugna ward pop. That will drive everyone back from EHOME. Sprout onto Musica. Will they actually fight this? They get the Pugna ward to go down. Was not decrepified in time. Snoopy entirely out of mana. No pipe in this fight. That is a huge loss for AL. Snoopy in a lot of danger of going down. PCT able to get back, and right in the middle of all of it, a huge lag spike. Oh man. Oh man. Let me say that again. Oh man, and my cat is even chiming in. Oh, what a time for that lag. It looks like Pugna goes down, the pause comes out from Godot. Oh, that is frustrating if you're on AL. Whew. Well, what this does is gives me a chance to drink some water. Of course, with the International 2 East qualifiers coming up tomorrow, I'm sure a lot of the servers are undergoing maintenance. Lanham, very low, is able to escape the Edict damage. The King AO will hit. Cold Feet to follow inside of the Sprout. He will get locked down. He will go down. I don't think there's... Actually, I didn't notice if there's track hold there. Either way, Lanham opting for a Ghost Scepter. This is very unusual. Will we see an Ethereal Blade? Is he just building the Ghost Scepter for now? I have not seen this before in Bounty Hunter. Outside of pub games, one of the popular pub stomp builds on Bounty, if you get fed, I've seen a few pros do it, is to rush a Dagon, get an Ethereal Blade. I think it was 1437 on Sing Sing stream who did this. And then you basically are just a walking time bomb. You start with the Ethereal Blade, you track them, you drop the Dagon and the Shuriken, and you hit quite hard. It does give them more burst damage. But once the BKB is up on DK, if he's actually going for this build, Bounty Hunter's not going to do much physical damage. So we'll have to see. Maybe it's just a Ghost Scepter for now. Of course, there is a decent amount of right-click damage in AL. Ghost Scepter is fantastic against a Broodmother as well as a DK. Although they have nukes, their primary source of damage will be physical, especially the later the game goes.
Illusion.
And being able, it's very similar to having, say, a Shadow Demon on your team. You're up against a Lycanthrope, they try to go on you, and then you simply pop your Ghost Scepter, and suddenly that will be a 4-second duration where they're not able to do anything, where they're wasting their time, they're forced to change targets. That being said, this is still very unusual. I think a BKB would be a better choice, and he's got the farm if you wanted to rush one. So maybe it will be the Ethereal Blade. We'll have to wait to find out. In terms of other items, I've talked a lot about that. Clinching did go for a late Midas. I'm sure he's had it for a while, but still, after an Urn, it's pretty unusual to see a player go back into a Midas. EHOME looking to take the slate, and hey, they've got the Bounty Hunters, so that's a little bit of extra gold into the Prophet's coffers. Unfortunately, with all the action in this game, 24 kills, only 22 minutes in. I did not catch when exactly that Midas was purchased. Still, it is going to take at least another 5 to 10 minutes to pay for itself. EHOME has enough spam that perhaps it's not an issue. And MMY fishing for a shackle shot here. It's not going to latch. That was real close. The tier, actually, it looks like EHOME are really committed to this push. 3 heroes down here. Or perhaps they're just doing a bit of a siege. Bounty Hunter Lanham farming up top. Cupid Cat has a Blink Dagger picked up. That is a really fast blink. And I really should check the rest of the items. I did show the Windrunner with a Force Staff and a Mechanism as well as a Gem. EHOME trying to do some dewarding. I've seen EHOME do this a lot offensively when they're in a position like AL where they push down all of the outer towers very early on. But what I haven't seen is EHOME do it defensively, and I love the choice equally here. If you lose a lot of early towers, one of the biggest problems you will face as a team is maintaining control of your own jungle, being able to farm safely, and avoiding getting ganked off. What a Gem gives you is a great ability to counter ward, and counter warding is the best way to ensure that your opponents cannot smoke gank effectively, cannot standard gank effectively. It also gives you detection for the Broodmother, which is not to be underestimated. Speaking of that Broodmother, Shaitan has opted for Mantis style. There was an interesting article a couple weeks ago in an interview, I believe it was with Korok, or maybe Painted Gold, someone from Quantic who said they really prefer Van Style over Orchid and BKB, which are the more common choices by most pros, simply because it gives you that move speed, it gives you more push power, it gives you a way to move debuffs, like Shadow Strike, like that A ultimate, and generally is just a bit more versatile than a BKB. It also does not operate on a charge timer. And that is one of the main arguments against a BKB rush, is that if you buy one early, you're also going to be using up those long duration charges early. And then when the critical team fights come in the mid game where you need that 10-second duration, you won't have it. Mid style also gives you a nice chunk of damage, so all in all, I like the choice here, and it fits in with what AL is trying to do, which is push, but they're actually getting outpushed at the moment. Look right now at the Fog of War. It is EHOME that is winning the push war. In spite of the fact that they're up against so many strong pushers, you gotta credit the Prophet for this. ulti just gonna clean up some spiderlings here and really slowing down the push. You also have to credit the, as I was just mentioning, the AA and all the heroes that can spam. Power shot slashing through the creeps will be clearing off those spiderlings. And this is one of the downsides to minion-based pushing lineups. At this stage of the game, spiderlings simply don't do anything when they're up against enemy heroes. Sure, they're great when they're left to their own devices in a lane, creep on creep. They can win that battle just fine, but what they can't do is handle the amount of spam that EHOME is sending their way. Speaking of EHOME, we do see an ultimate orb picked up on the Ancient Apparition. Gold is quite even, but it seems like EHOME has the bigger, more important item. Shackle shot onto Musica. Fissure as well. Down he goes. That was a track kill. A bunch of gold going EHOME's way. It's almost a level 3 track, and once that track hits level 3, it is 150 gold for every ally, as well as 250 for the bounty hunter. So it's up to, what is that, 850 gold for the entire team per kill. That is almost a tower's worth of gold if all of your allies are in range. As well as the bounty hunter. Big fight breaking out. Echo Slam, blink in from Cupid Cat. Great initiation by PCT. It forces the BKB from the king. Godot pops his ult, but he is actually under the effects of the AA ulti, so he will not be healing himself. Snoopy, the pipe is up. They're actually driving EHO back, but once the pipe and the BKB on, they're going to be forced back in all the while. King J pushing in the top lane. Big fight, but with AL using up the pipe, using up the Chen heal, using up the BKB, I have to say EHOME definitely got the advantage there. They also got a kill. They didn't sustain any losses. Sure, PCT used his ult, but that is a decent trade. Shaitan giving chase onto QQQ. Really wants to get something going here. Is in range for the slow. That'll be one slow to start. MMY has the 4-step. Nice 4-step away. Great teamwork from EHOME. Shackle shot as well. Oh man, MMY. I watched him earlier today, and he is really on point with his shackle shots. Of course, he is definitely one of the best windrunners in the world, but man, he is really playing well, even for his own ability level today. X showing what's up. Great play by him. While we have a bit more time here, we'll take another look at the gold graph, or excuse me, at the XP graph, and it's heavily favoring the Radiant. And if you look at their lineup, they are very level and farm dependent. This is the power of having a Prophet. You can set him into the jungle. It frees up the lanes for your other heroes to get some farm going. The Midas as well, definitely helping him. He's getting very close to that level 16 ult. Aeon is, or excuse me, Aeon. AL is looking to maybe claim their second Roshan of the game here. I wonder who they're going to give the Aegis to. Broodmother with the man style may be the best choice. Dragon Knight normally not a great candidate to carry that Aegis because if he dies in ultimate form, he will not respawn in it. That being said, there is a dire sentry ward. It is dewarded thanks to that gem on the Windrunner. Shackle shot onto Shaitan, and down he goes almost instantly. Not even able to be sent back. Could not pop the Mantis style. Could do nothing but die. There was a Chen heal available. Actually, no, there wasn't. I think the Mecha was fully down as well. Shackle shot onto the Kate. Oh man, Light of Heaven, step aside. MMY is here today to say something about who's got the best shackles in the world. PCT gets 4-staffed out. His ult is on cooldown. BKB is forced from the King. It's not often you'll see this, but indeed it's a Windrunner driving back a BKB Dragon Knight. All the while, King J just not leaving that lane. Looks like King J is in some trouble. That Ethereal Blade is picked up by Lanham, and down goes PCT. I guess another ancillary benefit, which I didn't mention, to having that Ethereal Blade is that it will buff up the magic damage from the other heroes in EHOME, and they have quite a bit. So it's not just about the bounty hunter's damage, it's also about how he can assist his teammates. Similar to buying a drum on a support here, you can buy this Ethereal Blade on a carry and actually end up giving your team more overall damage. So EHOME looking very strong. The gold graph dramatically going in favor of EHOME, and you see just how strong a few kills with a bounty hunter on your team can be, unlike Dota. Oh, Musica in a lot of trouble here. Ethereal Blade, Shuriken. Oh, boy, is he hitting hard. Perhaps this is the new way to play bounty hunter. Sure, you're up against a Dragonite with BKB, and you can't do a whole lot towards him except track. But everyone else on AL is fair game for that burst damage. Track, Shackle Shot, not gonna latch on the Shaitan. He will be okay for the moment. It's feeling like a slow but steady decline here for AL. I'm not sure there's any game-breaking items that will be picked up. My cat is meowing furiously. I am gonna have to let her out of my room. I do apologize for that, guys. I will be right back. Oh, the cat wants to come in, the cat wants to come out. Never satisfied. It's the way of the feline. MMY, a little bit of a fissure block there on an ally, but he would be okay. The king gets trapped. The longer the game progresses this way, the more it favors EHOME. They have the heroes that scale better the longer the game goes. They're ahead in terms of gold. If you look at the Dire lineup, Pugna does not scale well with items. He's also not that farmed. He's got the pipe, but again, so squishy. Picking up an Ogre Club, just any kind of item to give him a little bit of extra HP. Prophet also getting way more farm than anyone on the Dire squad. He's got an Aghanims complete, even further cementing their anti-push. And it's just so hard for the Broodmother to get anything going at the moment. Oh, the Kane eats a banish. He has a BKB available. Will he use is the question. Prophet TP's in. Sprout onto the Kane, who no longer has a way to eat his way out. Blinking from the Earthshaker, got immediate BKB bomb. Chen heal to go as well. Musica, so much damage. That was a brilliant bait to get one kill. Not the biggest deal in the world for EHOME. Still, a kill is a kill. AL's got to be happy about that. They might not be done yet. Shackle Shot not going to latch. MMY in a lot of trouble. He pops the windrunner. He's still got the 4-step and the mecha. He should be okay for the moment. King J getting a bit blocked up here. Broodmother giving chase as well. The TP out from King J. Will he get out? No, he won't. 3 heroes down now. Did someone buy back? Maybe I'm actually not counting correctly. Either way, 2 heroes appear to be down. Yeah, sorry. That was only 2 deaths. Still, if you're AL, you have to be happy about that. And now they have an opportunity to at least try and push. But against a Prophet, it's going to be tough. They might get the lanes pushed in, but as soon as that Prophet respawns, simply press R. Or press whatever button you use to use that ultimate, and the lanes will go back the other way. Roshan, of course, is up again, and Aeon will be going for this. They were not able to finish it the last time, so this is still the second Roshan. The question, as I asked before, is who will they give it to? Like I said, I don't think Dragonite is the best choice. I would probably give it to the Broodmother. Probably the Broodmother, maybe the leshrac. Simply because leshrac, generally the way you play him, much like a Storm Spirit, you empty his mana pool entirely.
Roshan has fallen to the dire.
And then you can go ahead and respawn with full mana. Roshan goes down uncontested. Thank you to all of those of you in the chat who will hear the 6 minutes from now for correcting me. It was apparently Aoi2000, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly, who made that comment about the Manta, not anyone from Quantic, so sorry for not giving him the proper credit. But either way, I think the point about general strategy remains. There is a certain argument to be made for getting the Manta style over the Orchid, which gives you that single target silence that is countered by BKB, can be removed by Manta, as well as, you know, not using the BKB charges up and having a weaker BKB later on. Anyway, something went well for AL there. They got a couple kills. They turned it into Roshan, but will it be enough? Now, EHOME certainly knows that Agi of the Immortal, or Egi of the Immortal, however you pronounce that, Aegises, whatever you want to call it, they are not enough to win a game. As if you haven't already checked it out, I don't want to spoil it, but there was a 90-minute game between LGD and EHOME. I want to say there were 9 Roshan attempts during that game. Not attempts, 9 Roshan kills during that game. The team that got all of them was not the team that won in the end. So EHOME is not to be deterred by that Aegis, and if you look at AL's lineup, they don't really have the best heroes to carry it. I mean, nobody is just completely game-breaking with an Aegis. It's not like there's a Morphling or an Anti-Mage who comes back with full damage capacity. Broodmother is decent, but she's very reliant right now on that Manta, will be reliant on the BKB. And leshrac, of course, very squishy, can be burst down quite effectively. They get the bottom tower, that's going to give less map control to AL. Prophet ult bouncing through, huge fight breaking out. The King eats everything, he drops, he does hit the Aegis. so I suppose it was the correct target to give it to. Although if he had popped the BKB, he might have survived there. Still, with the Aegis blown for nothing, EHOME may be looking to just back off. Lanham tracking everyone in sight. 3,000 gold in the bank. Shaitan continuing to give chase here. He's got track on him, but he's still running quite quickly. Will he catch MMY? Will it matter? Doesn't look like it. Fissure on 2 heroes. The DK ult was used. So with a failed DK ult, Prophet pushing in top, I think AL's chances of pushing are over. And this is one of the most frustrating things about playing with the Prophet on the map, is if you're not able to win a big team fight, kill that Prophet in particular, you are just not going to get racks because he will constantly be pushing in all the lanes. Go down on the back, on the retreat, crit shackle shot by MMY. In the middle of all of it is the King, who pops that BKB, picks up QQQ right away. There will be no ancient apparition ult in this fight, no buyback, but meanwhile Prophet ult bouncing through. So even though they get a kill, they're not able to turn it into anything in particular. MMY sitting on 3,600 gold, looking for a shackle shot on the King. It is going to latch. Will they make a go here? Ethereal Blade coming off cooldown in 10 seconds. King J TP's in. No Hex up yet on him. He's very close to it. King J taking so much damage. Big Echo Slam by PCT. Great job of counter initiating. This is what PCT excels at. And it looks like the King should go down. No, the track is on him. He's still not dead. Down he goes to that Ethereal Blade from LDM. Great job. Snoopy popping the ultimate, decrepifying himself, but Musical will be the target instead. Bounty doing too much damage in the middle of this fight. Even though it was a 2-on-4, they're still picking up kills here and there. MMY may finally go down. Force Death onto the low ground. No mana to TP out. Should probably just run away, as it looks like Bounty Hunter is in a lot of trouble. No, it's actually Snoopy in the trouble. Triple kill coming out for Lanham. 5,000 gold in the bag. And a little bit more of a lag spike to boot, and with Bounty Hunter getting so many kills, look at that gold graph just continue to climb. Holy crap. Oh, Lanham, just so impressive on that Bounty Hunter. And remember, he was 1v1 against the Broodmother, a hero that should have easily pushed down his tower. Within the first couple of minutes, the Prophet didn't get his ult for a while, the AA ult didn't get his ult for a while. Certainly not before the bounty hit 6, and yet Shaitan was just not able to convert that early lane advantage into too many towers. He did get one and then later another when the bounty hunter left the lane, but it wasn't fast enough, nor was it hard enough, and so now we see a farm bounty hunter, a farm Prophet, really everyone on EHOME having fantastic farm, and again, this is what they're so good at, is getting farm on those supports. I know I sound like a broken record, but if you've watched other pro teams, this is very uncommon. Only the best are able to find farm for the supports, as well as the carries. And you compare the supports right now, QQQ sitting on that Scythe of Vice, 4 staff, Gem still having money to buy wards, of course the Prophet, I've talked about his items, and the Hex is almost complete. Triple Hex about to come out for EHOME. That is scary, even with 2 BKBs. If you get hexed up, you cannot pop that BKB. You do have Chen to send you back to base as well as the heal, but still, there's a lot of burst damage on EHOME. It's going to be tough. Anyway, you compare the farm on the supports, we see Musica just trying to get up that Bloodstone, and a Bloodstone at 37 minutes in doesn't do squat for you. BKB on Lanham, he is quite immortal at this point. Like I said before, there's no real answer for that BKB pickup on the Dire squad, especially the way the Dragonite has built, which is very tanky and supportive. BKB, Drums of Endurance, he does decent damage, but it's not outstanding. The silence from the Broodmother, excuse me, she actually doesn't have a silence. So yeah, there's really no answer whatsoever. There's some right click, but Bounty Hunter can generally get away. He's got 4 staffs on the side, he's got the counter initiation on the side. And it's just going to be very, very tough to bring him down. And as long as Bounty Hunter's alive, like I said before, he really excels in these prolonged fights because he's constantly spamming track. You might have a dust or a set of wards, but that's not enough in a prolonged team fight. The gem being still up on the windrunner also means the wards will be quickly counter-warded unless you can bring her down right away, which is very difficult to do. The Dire may need to consider investing in a gem of their own, but who will carry it? We saw the King easily can be burst down. He had an Aegis, he lost it in the last fight. If he pops BKB, or if Shaitan pops BKB, they will live. But only for so long. All the momentum is clearly on EHOME's side. The gold graph, as I showed before, is trending dramatically in their favor, along with the XP, which is not too significant at this point. As it looks like Lanham gonna get another solo kill. That Ethereal Blade paying dividends, did not even have to use the Prophet ult there. And with that nice pick off on leshrac, there goes a little bit more anti-push for the Dire that they won't have in this upcoming engagement. The tier 2 tower is in jeopardy here. leshrac does not have buyback, he also does not have, actually he may have buyback. Indeed he does, but he really wants to finish that Bloodstone, I would assume. With the Bloodstone up, he would be respawning a bit sooner. KJ pressuring top. A nice split push here from EHOME. I believe they have completed the triple hex now. Prophet actually still holding on to the gold for it. He wants buyback available. Maybe this will be a Manta style. Just for a little bit more push. It wouldn't surprise me to see a Manta style here. I honestly wouldn't mind seeing something like an Assault Cuirass. Just to give you a little bit more tankability and remove the last form of damage that EHOME is going for them, which is the right click of that Broodmother. Tower drops, and with that tower dropping, MMY forced that in, as well as Hex looking for that shackle shot. Not going to get it. Chen available to send it back to base. In comes the Earthshaker with a fissure. Not yet using the Echo Slam. Lanham gets stunned up on the high ground, but he pops the BKB, and like I said before, there's just no answer for this BKB. He will get back without too much trouble. But with the BKB down on Lamb, shackle shot on 2. Oh man, MMY Echo Slam as well from PCT. 2 kills instantly going the rating way. Actually, that was 3 kills. Musica in a lot of trouble. He gets sprouted up, and I think this is gonna be it for AL. Everyone dying. They can buy back, sure, but we saw how quickly they melted. No buyback on the Brood, no buyback on the DK, and actually no buyback on the Chen. leshrac buys back, but to what end? Probably not going to amount to too much. MMY pops that ultimate. Oh, EHOME looking so strong right now. Really impressive play, and you gotta, in AL's defense here, and I don't like to make excuses for anyone, but they are playing with the stand-in. They've played a grueling series of matches today. It is very late for them, although it is late for EHOME as well, as leshrac gets nuked down instantly again. So perhaps they're not in top form. They did just finish, I think it was a 70 or 80 minute game for Empire. Either way, I'm sure AL will not be making too many excuses, as EHOME did play fantastically well. AL went for kind of a cheesy all-in push strat. It didn't work early. They did an admirable job of trying to hold on, but the kill score just way too much in favor of EHOME, especially when they have a bounty hunter on their side. Buff beat up all of those kills, every kill giving them about an extra 800 gold at this stage of the game. Snoopy is going to be sent back to base. Looks like he might go down. So yeah, I'm very curious to hear all of your thoughts about this match, about the past. As we see QQQ getting 4-staff back, Shaitan pops the BKB, does get slowed by the Janata, and the mechanism to follow. QQQ will live, a great bait, and looks like we might see a turnaround here. I'm calling the game like it's over, and you might be saying, well, AO only has 1 set of racks down. They can still turn this around, right? The answer is really no, they can't. They just don't have the damage to do it. Look how fast their carry dies. The King does get sent back to base, but still AO also lacking the damage of their own. With DK back in base, he has the ult up, he has the BKB up. He may be able to slow down this push for a little bit, but MMY continue to apply pressure. Snoopy will go down. MMY definitely the MVP of this game. 13-2-10 is the score on Lana, but MMY just is so dominant with those shackle shots. The constant solo ganks. Great play by him. Shaitan in a bit of trouble here. Looks like he will go down to that bounty hunter. The King pops the BKB, doing what he can, but just cannot tank all the right click power. And Lanham has the money to go for an Abyssal Blade, or a Divine Rapier if he would like to do so. Lanham continuing to pattern set 16-2-11. This is the second time in a row that Lanham on that suicide lane as bounty hunter has been absolutely unstoppable. Fantastic display by him. And you know how, if you've watched EHOME, you know that Bounty Hunter fits in so well with their playstyle. Calculated aggression. Bounty Hunter is fantastic for that. He gives you the scouting, he gives you the gold bonus for securing kills. He gives you the mobility from track, a great hero in its own right, and it fits in so well with what EHOME likes to do, which is dominate that early and especially the mid-game, get map control, win a couple of key team fights, snowball towards a victory. Does this hero deserve a ban versus EHOME? Many would argue yes, especially if you're going to pick into a Broodmother, if you're going to pick into so many squishy heroes. The GGs did come out from AL in the midst of all this. Everyone disconnected. I'm sure they are absolutely exhausted at this point. For that matter, I'm surprised the King is playing, as it is 4 AM his time, and he's got some big matches coming up later today. I would say tomorrow, but it's actually not tomorrow. Either way, the throw drops. 37-15 will be your final score for EHOME versus AL. Huge gold lead, huge experience lead, and quite an impressive display of items. In fact, a Divine Rapier was picked up with the Prophet right as the game ended, although I don't think he got any kills on it. Everyone, thank you very much for joining me for this cast. I believe that will do it for today. I am LD from dotacommentaries.com. If you enjoyed my casting, please follow me on Twitch, and that way you can find out exactly when I'm casting. You can also support me by subscribing to my Twitter, or to my YouTube, and to my Facebook. All of them are LDdota, so youtube.com/LDdota, facebook.com/LDdota, and twitter.com/LDdota. That is the best way to stay up to date on my latest upcoming casts. I'll let you guys know whenever I'm going live. I advertise on all of those places. You can also follow Dota Commentaries on Facebook as well. I will be casting the International East qualifiers tomorrow, so if you enjoyed my casting, you will be able to continue to listen to me tomorrow, and I will have more details on that later. I cannot reveal the full details just yet, but look forward to that. It will be a very special day for me and for everyone as we see a bunch of fantastic teams.